Welcome, everybody. So in this video, I want to take you through the installation process for the technology that we will be using this semester, and that's going to be R and RStudio. And so if you want to follow these instructions, this is just an HTML document that the link you can find in the description of this video. And so in this HTML document, you'll find some links where you can go to download the software that we'll be using. So just really briefly, what are R and RStudio? So R is a programming language that is used in statistical computing for visualizations, cleaning up data, and doing analysis. And so R is free, and so that's one nice reason why we chose this. It's been around for what is now a long time, and it's in use in many places in academia and in industry by statisticians. So these are skills that are going to be in demand when you're out looking for jobs. And this is a really nice tool for working with large data sets that we're going to be working with this semester that come from real life scenarios. We're not going to want to analyze that data by hand. So this is going to be a really nice tool for working with large data sets. So R is the programming language, and RStudio is the interface that we're going to interact with R. And so more simply put, RStudio is an application that's going to allow us to edit, run, and see the results of our code. And so both R and RStudio are open source, freely available on all platforms. So this is a really nice choice for us. So there are two versions of RStudio. One is a desktop version that I'm going to go through how you would install that onto your local device. That is free. And there's also a cloud-based version called RStudio Server, just so you know that is available. But in this video, we're going to talk about how to install the desktop version. So here's the website where you can go. These steps 1 and step 2, these links we'll find on this website as well. So if you want to right-click on this and open this in a new tab, we can go through the series of links that you want to click on in order to install both R and RStudio. So at this website for RStudio, you don't want to jump right into downloading RStudio just yet. There is a step 1, which is we want to first install the language R. So to do so, I'm going to click on this button over here, which says download and install R. And so depending on what operating system you have, whether that's a Mac or PC or Linux, you can find the link to the appropriate file on this page over here. So I'm going to do both Mac and Windows right now. So if you are working on a Mac, which is what I am using, you would click the download R for Mac button. And here, you want to be careful. There are 2 versions of R, depending on what type of Mac you have. And so if you have an M1 and higher Mac, and I'll explain in a second how you can identify that, then you'd want to use this top link where the most up-to-date version that we see today is R 4.2.2. Just keep in mind, these versions update as time goes on. So if you click on this link in a month from now, it might be 4.2.3. But this link has the ARM64 after it. So this would be if you have a newer Mac, an M1 Mac. If you have slightly older Mac, which is what I have, you have an Intel Mac. And if you have an Intel Mac, then you're going to want to use the link that doesn't have this ARM64. So you would just do R 4.2.2. And how you can determine whether or not you have an M1 or an Intel Mac, if you're a Mac user, you click on the Apple icon on the top, go to About This Mac, and I have an Intel Mac, so it says processor, and over here you can see that under the processor, it says Intel Core i5. If you have an M1 Mac, it's going to say your chip is that you have an M1 chip. If you have any questions about which version to install, I'm happy to look into that with you if you're confused about that. But depending on which version of Mac you have, you click one of these files. It's going to download this package file. When you open the package file, it's going to go through like an installation window of how you of installing R onto your computer. Okay, so that's for Mac users. If you are running a PC or Windows computer, then you would click on this link, download R for Windows. You want to install R for the first time, so you would click on install R for the first time. And then here you would click the download R 4.2.2. And again, this number might change as time goes on, but you're going to click on this top link, and this will take you through an installation process for R as well. Okay, so I will assume that you've gone through this first step and you've installed R by going to the appropriate operating system. So now after you've installed R, then you're ready to install RStudio. And it's really important to do things in this order. So again, step one is install R. Now we can install RStudio. And so this second step you can find way back at the original website over here. We first clicked on download and install R. And now for step two, we're going to download RStudio Desktop for, mine says for Mac. If you have a Windows computer, it should read your operating system and it would say for Windows. So now you would click on this and now you can see that it's going to download this, since I have a Mac, DMG file onto my computer. I'm going to save this onto my desktop, let's say. And then I would have to go ahead and go onto my desktop and open that file to begin the installation process. So here's my desktop. Here's the RStudio file. I would double click on this. And now I've got RStudio. And if I want to save this onto my computer, I would just, if I'm running with a Mac, I'm just going to take R and plop it into the applications folder like that. So after you open the DMG file, you can just take this icon and add it into your applications. But I already have this there, so I'm not going to do that step. If you have a Windows, it would be pretty similar. Again, you're going to have desktop for Windows. You click on this link. It'll download a file that is the usual type of file that installs software onto your computer. Okay, great. So that's a two-step process. So once you've installed R, then you've gone through and installed RStudio, you're now ready to go. And so to end things off, I would just want to make sure that you're able to open RStudio. And then in the next video, I'm going to finish up the instructions of this file, which is going to show you how to open this instruction file and install some packages in R. But to end this video, I just want to make sure you're able to now open RStudio. So on my computer, I've got RStudio on my dock over here. So anytime I need to open RStudio, I can just click on this icon in the dock like any other application. But maybe the first time you've installed RStudio and you want to open it up, you can find it in your applications. I have a bunch of older versions, but over here you can see I found RStudio in my applications. And so I can double click on this. And now you can see that R is opening up. Might take a second, especially if you're just installing it for the first time. But now I can see that RStudio is open and I am running R version 4.2.2 on my computer. So that's great. That was all I wanted to talk about in this video, but in the next video, I will continue talking about how you could find this instruction file and open this instruction file and install some packages for